Hello and welcome to Global Insights, where we deep dive into stories and global issues. I'm Brian Pham. And in today's hyper-connected world, a cyber attack can cross borders in seconds, and no country is immune. From personal data theft to global ransomware rings, cybercrime is evolving faster than the system built to stop it. Now the world is taking action. The United Nations Convention Against Cybercrime, or the Hanoi Convention, marked a turning point, a global effort to set common rules for our shared digital future. In this episode, we turn our attention to one of the biggest challenges of our digital age, cybercrime. Cybercrime has become a global economic threat. Analysts from Quant TIA estimate that by 2025, cybercrime will cost the world over $10.5 trillion every year, from direct losses and ransom to recovery efforts and reputational damage. Put simply, that's about $333,000 lost every single minute to cyber attacks. That is why the United Nations Convention Against Cybercrime, or the Hanoi Convention, could not come at a more crucial moment. Scheduled for October 25th and 26th in Hanoi, the event is expected to lay out new rules and definitions for how nations can work together to fight cybercrime in the digital age.
The convention is the first UN criminal justice treaty to be adopted in over 20 years, as well as the first global treaty on cybercrime and the exchange of electronic evidence for serious crimes. Its 9 chapters address comprehensively the prevention and combating of global problem of cybercrime.
For us, it's a landmark because it's addressing so many layers of difficulty that we've had trying to fight cybercrime, and because all of the member states actually agreed to it. So they fed in all of the comments, they shaped it to what they want it to be. They understand their local problems, and it's trying to address all of those globally. So that's the landmark, is first off just having the agreement and then making this kind of common starting point.
So it's the first time the international community's come together and agreed on rules and processes and procedures for dealing with cybercrime. It is probably just the beginning, because it's the first time we've got rules and frameworks to try and harmonise national laws so that we can all be operating together, because cyber criminals, they're clever and they'll keep changing and adapting. So we need to keep effectively working together.
As the world moves toward a new international framework under the Hanoi Convention on Cybercrime, one story stands out, a story that bridges both sides of the digital divide. Ngô Minh Hiếu, better known to many as Hiếu PC, has lived that journey. From black hat to white hat, a few paths in the cybersecurity world are as remarkable as his. Today, he's one of Vietnam's leading voices in cyber defense and digital awareness, working tirelessly to protect users and raise public understanding on online safety and the growing threat of cybercrime.
He once lived in the shadows, a teenage hacker who could break into almost anything, and did. From stealing millions of identities to facing 45 years behind bars. But prison wasn't the end. It was his reboot. Today, Hiếu PC is on the front lines, fighting the cybercrimes he once committed. Now he's turning his past into purpose, openly sharing his story to educate and protect others from the dangers of the digital underworld.
Please welcome Ngô Minh Hiếu, cybersecurity expert and advocate for a safer digital future, to Global Insight. Thank you for joining our program today.
Thank you.
You have experienced both the black hat and white hat side. So how do you assess the current trend in cybercrime, especially the increasingly sophisticated nature of cross-border attack?
This is a very good question, because I was a former hacker, and basically I understand very deeply about the dark web, underground marketplace, and also on the deep web. Back then, the cybercrime very simple and very basic. Not really organized at all. But nowadays, cyber criminals, they work very organized. They have professional money laundering, they have professional hacking service. So nowadays, anybody can become a cyber criminal. A lot of cyber attacks targeting like big corporations and also like individuals. And because they have of new technologies like AI, or artificial intelligence. At the same time, the cyber criminal, they working like a real company. Basically, they have sales person, they have marketing person, they have technical person, and they also have the team specialized into like building hacking tool for them. So very dangerous. That's why we can see cybercrime is a big problem nowadays.
And the UN Convention Against Cybercrime, also known as the Hanoi Convention, marks an important step for the United Nations in building a global legal framework for cybercrime. In your view, what are the key highlights of this convention, particularly regarding its scope and the way it's defined cybercrime?
This is very good news that for the people, for any country. Basically, Hanoi Convention compared to other conventions that we have in our history, Hanoi Convention is global. And this also have to strengthen the collaboration, the partnership and data sharing, and also define clearly about what is cybercrime. There are some very important highlights related to Hanoi Convention. It's about human rights protection. For instance, like online kidnapping. With this convention, law enforcement have a platform to be able to solve this problem. At the same time, there is also about the data protection, because so many cyber criminals, they need data to be able to identify the income, the background of the victim as well. So they can be able to call them, to manipulate them into the scam. So having to protect the data is very important. At the same time, reduce the cybercrime. That's how, this Hanoi Convention is very important for this century, to be able to have all the country be in one, so we can come back against the cyber criminal.
And you were once a well-known black hat hacker before becoming a cybersecurity expert. So how has that transformation shaped your understanding of cybercrime?
As a former hacker, it's helped me to understand both sides, the dark side and also the white side. It's helped me to understand about the cyber criminal mindset, and then also easier to blend in into like cybercrime and underground hacking forums, and be able to talk to them and understand about them, whatever they've been doing. So collecting the intelligence and help the law enforcement to be able to investigate deeper and identify the threat actors behind the scenes.
And the Hanoi Convention emphasizes international cooperation in investigating and prosecuting cybercrime. So from your practical experience, what do you see as the biggest challenges today?
Yes. With the Hanoi Convention, it will solve the problem that we've been facing for many years, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic. The scam center been growing so fast in Southeast Asia. That's where kind of like high-tech cybercrime located over there. And sometimes it's very difficult for law enforcement to collaborate together, especially for data sharing, so they can prosecute and arrest the cyber criminal. So hopefully, and I believe Hanoi Convention will be kind of like the good start for any country to have a platform so they can strengthen the collaboration.
In recent years, data leaks have become one of the world's most pressing digital threats, exposing the vulnerabilities of even the biggest technology players. Cybersecurity incidents have grown more frequent and more costly, and now accountability is catching up. Around the world, regulators are tightening oversight, imposing record fines, and pushing for stronger data governance to ensure that privacy and accountability are no longer optional in the digital age.
A Spanish court opens a trial over a €550 million lawsuit brought by more than 80 Spanish media organizations against Facebook owner Meta for allegedly breaching European Union data protection rules. Spain's main media association, AMI, alleges unfair competition in digital advertising sales and is seeking €551 million in compensation.
What Meta has done is carry out large-scale profiling of the behavior of all Internet users. And based on that mass profiling, without having informed citizens or obtained their consent, it is alleged to have sold targeted advertising and generated enormous profits through what amounts to a regulatory violation.
South Korea's regulator has fined the country's largest mobile carrier, SK Telecom, roughly 134.8 billion won, about $97 million, after a cyber attack exposed data from nearly 27 million users. The government found the company had weak internal security controls, outdated systems, and delayed notifying affected users.
As measures to prevent recurrence, SK Telecom should enforce security measures by conducting regular inspections once per quarter. Second, a more robust supply chain security system should be established. Third, a chief information security officer should be placed directly under the CEO to oversee and manage company-wide information security policies.
In recent years, a surge in data leaks has exposed the fragility of global digital infrastructure, even among the world's largest tech companies. As breaches grow more sophisticated and costly, nations are moving to reclaim control over how data is stored, used, and protected. This marks a decisive turn toward digital sovereignty, the idea that countries must safeguard their citizens' information as a matter of national security and public trust.
Now, the concept of digital sovereignty is becoming increasingly important. So how do you think the Hanoi Convention will influence countries, including Vietnam, in balancing user data protection with the need for international cooperation?
This is a very good question because the data is very important nowadays. It's kind of like a goldmine for anybody and also for cyber criminal as well. So we need to put a stronger law, basically for data protection. And at the same time, nowadays, it's very important to protect the data because artificial intelligence, being more and more advancing every single day. The data belong to a country, for instance. They need to protect the data. So, they can keep this data and be able to build their own AI model. And we need to define between the difference between the data protection and the privacy of the user.
Yes, but by introducing Hanoi Convention, we are agree with countries cooperating and sharing information with one another. Does that pose any threats or have any drawbacks in terms of data protection, where you have to share your citizens' information with other country? Would that have any drawbacks?
There's some drawbacks, of course. Based on strict guidelines of the Hanoi Convention, will handle the abuse of data sharing. With the Hanoi Convention, it will have to define that clearly, a middle platform that have the country, when they sharing the data, they have to comply with the guidelines or the policy. So when something happens, they have to be responsible for that. Right?
Yes. So the platform will oversee the data sharing between countries within the convention, so that there will not be any abusing of data sharing.
Right, that's true.
So, and in your opinion, what is the biggest gap between legal frameworks and technical realities in investigating cybercrime today? And how can the law and technology better speak the same language?
So we need to keep our pace like the same or equal, at least equal with the cyber criminal. So the awareness and also like technical training is very important to be able to have law enforcement. They have to understand how to use high-tech technology to investigate the cyber criminal more effectively. And with the Hanoi Convention, I believe it will be a gateway for all law enforcement sharing technical investigation skill. So keep the pace with the cyber criminal nowadays.
It was the dawn of September 20th. at London's Heathrow. Weary travelers stood beneath darkened departure screen, many eyes searching in fatigue. In Brussels and Berlin, the same feeling hung in the air. Flickering monitors, silent loudspeakers, and motionless queues. This confusion was eventually due to a cyber attack. The chaos traced back to the Muse platform developed by Collins Space, a global software system used for check-in, boarding, and package handling, which suddenly went off. Within just a few hours, major airports across Europe were simultaneously brought to a standstill.
Came here and we saw at the board our flight is delayed, so we have no other information or nothing why it's delayed.
It's a problem because we have an old program and maybe, I don't know if it's correct 2 hours, but I'm in trouble. I don't know how to do, but all people are all the same here.
Later, the European Union Agency for Cybersecurity confirmed the worst. A ransomware attack has locked the entire Muse system, freezing check-in operations across hundreds of airports. For 2 days, Europe's air traffic stood on the brink of collapse. More than 1,000 computers crippled, hundreds of flights grounded, and staff were forced to check in passengers by hand. The estimated damage was over 150 million euros.
Cyber attacks are costing us as a society over $20 billion a day. And these sophisticated attackers are targeting us, our organizations, and they're trying to shut us down and trying to lock up our files and prevent us from doing business or otherwise going about our daily lives.
This incident became a vivid reminder which runs on fragile digital threats. It also serves as a warning about the way we rely on and manage digital technology in today's world.
Now, amid increasingly sophisticated waves of cyber attacks, ranging from disruption to airport controls system in the US and Europe to large-scale data breaches targeting financial institutions across Asia, including Vietnam, cybersecurity has become a pressing global concern. As our expert has pointed out, the signing of the annual convention could mark a significant step toward establishing common rules and stronger cooperation in cyberspace. But what would they mean for cybersecurity companies in terms of policy, technology adoption, and investment directions? And to dive deeper into this topic, let's hear from Mr. Kelvin Chua, Senior Director of System Engineering for Southeast Asia at Fortinet, one of the world's leading cybersecurity companies. Hello, Mr. Kevin. Thank you for joining us today. Now, how do you think the Convention Against Cybercrime could reshape the way countries and private companies coordinate to respond to these growing transnational threats?
I think the real impact will hinge on, how standardized cooperation, lower legal friction, or even aligned incentive across the government as well as the private sector, right? I think how it could actually change, with the signing, obviously is, I would assume that it's probably going to be allowing a more faster, more predictable cross-border data access. It will also allow a shared definition as well as, providing some sort of a standard across evidence sharing. It is also probably going to be good for the private enterprise because, this will actually strengthen the public and the private operational partnership. And I think, overall, it is a good thing.
Now, in your opinion, how will the signing and implementations of this convention impact the operation and strategies of businesses in the cybersecurity sector?
I think for private company, it will help them build a unified cross-border disclosure playbook that map let's say, the treaty criteria to some of the internal workflow, some of the pre-approved emergency response and escalation. Overall, in actual fact, help the business a lot. In fact, actually, if you look at Fortinet, right, I mean, it just validated the approach we have been championed for years, right? I mean, proactive, transparent, intelligent-driven defense. In fact, actually, for us, we have also been partnering with people like Interpol, Cyber Threat Alliance, essentially, with the motivation to do this, right? To help the world or the country, to essentially address, some of these cybersecurity challenges that many government, enterprise, individual are facing here.
Now, given the recent rise in high-profile cyber incidents worldwide, what are your expectations for how this convention could contribute to improving global cybersecurity resilience and rebuilding user trust in the digital space?
What encouraging, I see in this convention is that, it is not just focusing on the response, right, but also on prevention, on accountability, right? It has to be implemented effectively to help nation detect, this kind of threat early. I think data, which is the king of everything, right? I think my expectation, of this convention could help is in terms of what kind of governance that we need to put around the data, right? And what kind of localization strategy we need, right? And especially, let's say, when we talk about retention, data retention, how long do we need to keep the data? What kind of log do we need to keep, right? And where should we keep, right? When we talk about cross-border, definitely there will be conflict. So you need also to have a very clear so-called governance and strategy centered around how you resolve conflict.
Thank you for your insights. From your experience in cybersecurity and cyber attack prevention, what capability should Vietnam prioritize? Human resources, technologies, or institutional framework?
I believe we have to do everything. We have to do everything because nowadays, to catch up with the speed of the cyber criminal moving, we have to adapt with the increasingly changing of the technology. We have to educate the people not only about knowing how to use the technology. It will help a lot to reduce cybercrime. At the same time, not only about user awareness, but also about building the platform for the people, as we already have. I believe after the Hanoi Convention, the people will know more about these kinds of tools, the kinds of application that the government already have in place. We can import new high-tech technology to be able to combat against the cyber criminal.
And I believe that using technology, for example, artificial intelligence, create fake news, fake photos, does that belong in a category of cybercrime, or is this something that have not been defined in the law yet?
That one is also included into the Hanoi Convention law. It's basically about the data protection. Technically, AI, deepfake, deep voice, whatever, it's about data. You need to steal or impersonate or copy anybody's personal information, right, to be able to swap face or deepfake that person. So that's about data, right? So about the data protection already included and already defined in the Hanoi Convention. So this will also have for the law enforcement to understand these kinds of tools, what it can be abused, can be used for scamming the people or for hacking the people. So with this, it will have to identify the provider, that who provide these kinds of malicious tool for cyber criminal to be able to do the bad things, right?
Being a cybercrime expert, what message do you want to send to internet users out there or government member countries in the convention?
Yes, I hope that my story can inspire the people. First of all, before you do something bad on the internet, think again about that. Slow down your thoughts and your behavior when you click or steal data from the people. Second thing is about, we need to educate the people more and more about the cyber awareness so they can be able to slow down on every click, every download, to be able to verify and confirm is it real or not. The last thing I want to share with this Hanoi Convention, I believe this can solve all your problem and reduce the cybercrime price that being so high right now. And I believe at the end of this year, until the next year, I believe Vietnam and all other countries will reduce the cybercrime problems.
Once again, thank you for joining our program today. As the world becomes increasingly connected, so too the risks we face in the digital space. The Hanoi Convention on Cybercrime marked a defining moment, bringing nations together under a shared framework to tackle the growing wave of cyber threats. Ultimately, the message is clear. In today's digital world, every click and every online action matters. With cooperation, openness, and trust, we can make the internet a safer space for everyone. And thank you all for watching Global Insight, and we see you next time as we continue exploring global stories that's shaping our world.